The views expressed on this show are those of the host, guests, and callers, and not those of radio station KICK, Vision Communications Incorporated, its management, or advertisers. Vision Communications Incorporated is not responsible for the validity or accuracy of information presented on this program.
Attention sports fans. Looking for the best in updates and interviews for your high school sports? Well, you found it. You're on board with the Scoreboard Guy.
Sports Network. I'm Guy Newcomb, the Scoreboard Guy, your host, and pleased to be joined now from Mid-America Nazarene University, the head Pioneer football coach, Paul Hansen. Coach Hansen, thanks so much for being part of the show today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Guy. It's always good to talk to you and just talk football, especially with Southwest Missouri.
Yeah, and as you found out earlier here, just in our visit, I'm actually an alum of Mid-America Nazarene University. Stayed in Snowbarger Dorm. I don't know if it's even still there. I know we didn't burn it down, but it's probably still on campus.
Oh, yeah. It's right around the corner from me right now. So, man, I could go up there and find some old writings on the wall that you hid somewhere.
That's a long time ago. But, Coach, coming from Western New Mexico, kind of talk about that move and obviously some of your background here as a player at Evangel. You've coached in this league. At one time, you've been at a couple of high schools here in Springfield, Missouri. But kind of take us through that route to get back to Olathe, Kansas.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I'm actually from Kansas City. I graduated back in 2001 out of high school, and I left. I never came back here, and so I ended up at Evangel University where I played my 4 years and met my wife there. So kind of after graduating, I kind of just started coaching. My first coaching job was at Cherokee Middle School there, South Springfield. And I helped Coach Kevin Byrne out there. And I was like the B team coach and like held a bag, and I didn't really do a whole lot. And so, but I loved every bit of it. And so from that point on, I started kind of moving up the ranks. I went to Jarrett Middle School after that and I worked my way up north to the north side to Hillcrest High School. We were there for 4 years and kind of really did a great job of turning that program around, in those 4 years, had some of the best years in history of that school. So it was a lot of fun. And I kind of moved on, just kind of kept on moving up. I coached out Marshall for 2 years and then just kept on moving up the ranks, made it to college and went down to Southwest Assembly God University in Dallas area for a couple of years. And then made my way back to Springfield as a head coach at Parkview. And then Coach Tristan, who's the head coach at Willard now, got the job at Western and said, hey, we're going west. So we went out west for a couple of years. And so it's been a lot of fun. And then, about a year and a half ago, this job came open. It's a chance to get closer to home for me. And my kids miss their grandparents. And it was just a natural fit for us and our family. And so it's just been really good kind of being back home in this area.
Now, give us an idea of your roster. I looked at it a little bit online. You've got over 100 kids out there. Are some names, from this area that might be particularly known here in Southwest Missouri, and some I'm sure known all around the state. But kind of give us an idea of your roster and what you had to replace coming off of that season a year ago.
Yeah, so I got the job. The previous head coach, they actually had a great season. They were 7-4 before I got here, and he got promoted. He's now the offensive coordinator at Northwest Missouri State. And so coming off a good season like that, they had a lot of seniors that year. So when I got the job last February, we had 59 guys on the team. And it was kind of when I first got here, I was trying to figure out who everyone was and all that. Then after 20 days, we shut down because of COVID. And so now I have a new roster and trying to figure out who some of these guys are. They're not getting spring ball. It was just a really tough year. So at that point, we were trying to field a team, and find some good recruits and all that. So I'd say within the last year, we've done a very good job of just reshaping this roster to make it a deep roster. And, in football, depth is such an important factor, especially if you want to play November and December. And so being able to create good depth and with that. So right now we're about 123 football players, and I have some managers and stuff like that. That puts us over 130, about 131 total. So really excited about where we're at, really excited about the depth of the roster. I feel like one of the things we had to do after like a COVID season last year is just try to match what the conference is putting out there and with our own players. And so we've done a really good job with that. Our coaches have done a great job with that. And so I'm really excited to see how this will go next week when we have our first game.
As you're a couple of weeks in now to practice, what do the days look like for a college football player there in the heart of America? You going 2 times a day? Is it walkthroughs? Is there a lot of film and the heat? Well, today's pretty nice down here, but there's been some really hot ones.
Yeah, so I would say that yesterday and today is the first time we've actually done the schedule I wanted to do. And that drives, anyone that's a football coach knows that drives you nuts not to be on schedule and do how you want to do it. So it was just really hot last week. So we adjusted a lot of our schedule last week to fit that with the heat and everything. So right now we kind of go every other day. We'll have 2 practices tight for about an hour and a half or so. And then on those one-a-days, we kind of have a bigger practice in the morning. We lift, and then we have a walkthrough in the evening. And we just kind of alternate that. At the end of each week, we have a scrimmage. So we had our first scrimmage last Saturday night. We do it at 6:00 because that's when we play our first game. So I'm very big on just trying to keep it all, like game-like situation stuff. And so at the end of this week, we'll have another scrimmage Friday night, and then it's game week in our mind. So we'll be transitioning into game week type hours and all that. So it's been really good.
And again, we're visiting with the head coach of the Mid-American Nazarene University Pioneers, Coach Paul Hansen. And this segment brought to you by Doak Propane. Doak Propane for all your propane needs. See the folks here at Doak in Polk County and surrounding counties. But Coach, as you head into that week 1, that's 28th, I believe, of this month. What are your challenges there as you look at your schedule? A very good Heart of America conference.
Yeah. Haven't played in this conference. It's changed a little bit, but the competition has it. It's still a really super tough conference every week. You don't get a week off. One thing they do now in our conference is they have a North and a South division. And with us being in the South, what we do is we go play all the North teams first, starting week 1. So our first game is a week from Saturday versus Graceland University. So we're going up to Iowa. And I've been there since 2004. So when we played there at Evangelist, it's going to be a little different, but it'll be fun to go up there and play a tough first opponent. And so basically that's how it works. You play your whole North division, and then we get a bye week, and then we start the South. And so it's kind of cool because, in our conference, we get 2 automatic bids already to the playoffs. So if you win your division, it's kind of like the NFL. I mean, you're in the playoffs essentially. Or you could go over in the other, versus the other division and still make the playoffs. So it's kind of cool how that's set up.
Give the listeners here an idea of coming to you live on 92.3 KICK here in Springfield, Missouri, home of the Royals. Give the listeners here an idea of maybe some of the kids on your roster that are from this area. Yeah,
we've just have been a head coach down there. I've coached down for so long. I have a lot of friends that's down there are head coaches, and they always are sending me different guys that we need to look at. And so right now we have about 5 or 6 kids from from the Southwest Missouri. One kid that we signed this last offseason was Ethan Pritchard from Ozark High School. And I tell you what, this kid is a very, very good football player. He just does everything right. And, from the very beginning, when I got this job, I was recruiting him pretty fast because I had a buddy that knew him that coached at one point and say, hey, you got to get on this kid. So I got on him. He's doing really well. He's playing receiver for us, but he's also on every special team. He just is a hard worker. He's about 6'1", 6'2", 205 already. I mean, he's a really good ball player. Another kid that's having an awesome camp right now is Silas Templeton, and he's from Carthage High School. And that's not a bad high school to get a kid from, for sure. Having, I know Coach down there at Carthage, he does a great job with those guys, and just the whole area alone produces some really good football players. But he's doing really well. He's had some really big catches, and he's already starting on some special teams. So a couple of those kids are really good. We signed a linebacker this last year from Hillcrest High School, AJ Taylor, and man, he's having a really good camp as well in our defense, and he's really picking things up really well. So it's kind of cool to go back to the old stomping grounds there at Hillcrest to recruit. And I put a lot of time in those 4 years there of painting the locker room and just all the stuff that we did there with Coach Beckham. And so that's pretty cool to have a kid from Hillcrest on our team for sure. And then also we have a couple other kids from Parkview High School. When I was a head coach at Parkview, we have 2 kids that were freshmen that year when I was there. Devin Holt and Anthony Green are on our team as well, and they're doing a really good job. And then we also have a Hayden Scott on our team. He went to Glendale High School. I signed him over a year ago. And his cousin's Anthony Tolliver, who's in the NFL. So, the NBA. So we've done a really good job of finding some good talent, in Southwest Missouri, and just for what we need, some needs for our team. So they've done a really good job.
Very good. Well, Coach, certainly appreciate you joining us. And we're visiting again with Coach Paul Hansen from Mid-American Nazarene University. Kind of handicap your conference. And, I know it's been up and down. You guys have had a lot of success. Missouri Valley has had some success. Evangel has had some success. What do you look forward to, going into this season? Who do you think you're going to be chasing, or maybe it's you?
Yeah, we like to think it's us, but at the end of the day, we got to earn that. And I talk to our guys about that all the time. When I got the job here, everyone was talking about the big four, having to beat, Baker, Evangel, Benedictine, Grandview, those were the teams. And so when I talk about our roster and recruiting, that's one of the things we were trying to match those teams, especially with the talent that those teams are going to produce. And so every year, those teams right there, I mean, they're all the teams are really good. Don't get me wrong, but those are the 4 teams right now. In the last, 4 or 5 years, it's kind of been the team that, everyone's trying to beat. Right now having Benedictine, Baker, and Grandview ranked in the top, top 25 right now. That tells you how tough our conference is, with Grandview being, I think, like top 5 right now. And so every week it's going to be a battle for sure. And so that's just one of the things right now we're trying to do with our roster and getting our players in the right spot to make plays versus these teams. And really versus a couple of those teams, I mean, in the fourth quarter last year, we were within 3 points. We were winning by, within a possession. And so at the end of the day, that's what you want, to have a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter.
As you move forward too, and COVID continues to affect things. I know we already have a week 1 game here in Southwest Missouri, high school game that's been canceled because of COVID. As you look forward, I mean, are you right now going to allow fans? What's the protocol right now, as far as for Mid-America and the conference?
Yeah, right now we're fully open for all of our games and all that. We did just kind of went to a indoor mask kind of mandate, where if you're indoors and meetings or anything like that, you got to wear masks, locker rooms, buses, stuff like that. I think the key with that is just to make sure we get to play this year. And so with that, though, outdoors, I mean, we're fully open. Like the other night, we had our first scrimmage. We had fans there, and we had a local Mexican restaurant here with food. I mean, so it seems normal, especially compared to last year. So it's really good.
And it's got to be just rewarding to have a schedule, to be able to put things on your schedule and have a routine every day. Because I know there was a year there for all coaches at all levels and all sports where you just didn't have anything to do. And so it's got to be comforting to know, hey, I've got something to do today.
Yeah, I mean, last year, so we normally have 11-game conference schedule. And last year, we went into the season having, I think, 9 games. So they dropped 2 just to make sure we get it. And then at one point, we were down to 7. And so we were just trying to find someone to play. I think 1 week last year, we game planned for 3 different teams. And finally by Wednesday, we found a game. We found a game somewhere else, and so we were game planning on Wednesday. It was just to give our seniors one last chance to get to play some college games because some of these guys are graduating, they're leaving, they're going to do other things. So that was definitely tough for sure.
You bet. Well, Coach, we certainly wish you the best, and congratulations on being in Olathe and being a pioneer, an alum that coming from an alum. I spent some time there on the football field as well, many years ago. But I always look forward.
Yeah, well, come on up anytime. I got the old jersey number. Go Nears, and we'll go find some places you used to hang out at.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much. Paul Hansen, Mid-American Nazarene University. We'll be back after these messages. To the show here on Saturday, and we are pleased to be joined now by silver medalist from the Olympics, Miss Courtney Frerichs. And Courtney, how does that sound? Silver medalist.
Oh, it still sounds, I don't know, crazy. I'm getting used to it, I think.
Yeah. Has it sunk in yet?
It slowly is. I think that it was just such a whirl. Gosh, it's just been over a week now, and I think slowly getting to celebrate with people. Like I, came home to my husband and was able to celebrate with some of my teammates and friends. And then my mom and sister are coming out here to Portland next week. So we'll get to celebrate them. And I think it'll really become real once I'm around all my family and stuff.
Yeah. When did you get back from Tokyo? Did you stay for the entire Olympic?
No, I actually got back last Friday. We had to leave within 48 hours of competition. So I was originally going to leave the day after the race and then decided to stay one extra day just because things were hectic and I kind of wanted to enjoy everything for a day, which I'm really happy that I did that.
Yeah. Well, before we talk about, your history here and maybe what's in store for the future, we have to talk about the race. And
yeah.
I was one of, I know, several thousand people, especially in this area, that got up early that morning to watch it live. And talk about that decision there about maybe the 1,500 meter mark, where you decided to kind of put some stress on the other runners and put some pressure on them. Was that something that you knew going into the race, or was that just kind of a spur of the moment?
I knew going into the race that I might have to make kind of a decisive move and go to the lead. Just with how some of the distance races were playing out at the games, and then just with how I felt in the prelim and how I was actually handling the heat and humidity, which was actually really well. We knew my best chance to have a shot at winning or get on the podium was going to be for it to be a fast race. And I feel really confident with my strength as a runner and just kind of being able to run that hard, sustained pace and not leave it to a kick. So my coach had prepared me to, trust my instincts after maybe the first 1,000 meters. If I felt like I could go to the lead, to do it. And we actually, looking back, had been doing a lot to practice that in some of my races in the lead up. I kind of made the same move at the Olympic trials and at some races earlier in the season. So we hit a mile to go, and I felt confident with just how I was feeling in the race. And I just knew that I would walk away no matter what happened, proud of myself for just, putting it out there and, really testing myself and, everyone in the race and not letting it get down to 300 meters and see who has the best kick.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, you really stressed some of the other runners in the race. I mean, the world record holder finished 7th, I think. She couldn't keep that pace up. And the young lady who won the gold, her best run or time had been 9:20. and she runs a 9:01 there. But just an exciting finish right there. And what was it like to wrap that flag around you?
Oh, it was so surreal. It was just like an absolute dream come true. And, I had so much pride for just taking the race and making it my own. And I felt like I'd really earned that medal, and to be able to, do it in a USA uniform is just a dream come true. And, thankfully, like, my coaches were able to be in the stadium. So I got to have a moment with them, which was really cool. It was sad to not have spectators, but I still was able to celebrate with some people that were really important in all of this.
And what was it like to not have, because you've run at the NCAAs, you're a silver medalist already in the World Games, I believe. You've run in front of so many fans, thousands. What was that like, and how was that different, and how did you prepare yourself for not hearing the crowd?
Yeah, there's definitely a certain energy that comes from the crowd, especially in some of these major races. Like, I'll never forget, like, my NCAA title, or when we medaled at the World Championships, Emma and I, like, it felt like the crowd was like willing us to those performances. But I also feel like, looking back at a lot of the training and the races leading into these games, there wasn't a crowd. And and then in training, that's very common. A lot of times it's just, for steeple workouts, it's myself and my coach out there, and, you figure out how to get it done, and, kind of tap into your like inner will to perform on the day. So I tried to focus on that. And then, it was kind of nice that because our coaches were actually allowed to be in the stadium, you could hear them for once. So,
yes.
I could hear a few voices around, and it didn't become as much of an impact as I expected, which was good. Just sad not be able to share it with other people, like, in the moment.
Right. That would have been my next question is, I've been around, cross country and track, and I've started track meets and things of that nature. And, especially at the cross country and a lot of the distance runs at a track meet, the coaches are constantly, hey, you got to move up. You got to move up. Mm-hmm. So that was probably to your and to the other runners' advantage to be able to hear their coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're able to, hear voices much more distinctly. Whereas normally if there is a really large crowd, there's no way, like, especially like they kind of put the coaches way up high, like in the, nosebleeds practically. So that was a cool experience for them. So still so much to take away from, even if it was different than what we imagined it to be.
Now I've got to ask you too, because, being at a lot of track meets, and all three of my kids have run track meets, when you see that runner kind of step out like you did and take the lead, and it's kind of like maybe throwing a Hail Mary pass, and it doesn't always work. In fact, I've seen it not be successful more than it has been. What were your thoughts there? Because you were able to hang on, and, a lot of times they just can't hang on.
Yeah. It was definitely a bit terrifying. Like, even when my coach gave me the plan, there was a lot of fear to kind of process and overcome, to just, be able to like confidently take the lead in Olympic Games and feel like, I could sustain it. And, the thing that we really focused on too was that even if I make this move and someone catches me, or a group of people catches me, or goes around me because they just stick on me, like, it doesn't mean it's over. You have to mentally regroup and, go on with it. And so I think I really tried to focus on that, this is what's right for me. This works to my strengths. And no matter what, even if I get passed, it's not over. And I feel like even when Peruth passed me with 250 to go, I didn't let her go right away. I ran out of gas a little bit in the last 150, but, I really tried to just hold on to that, no matter what, like, you can hang on. And just, there is the advantage in the steeplechase that being out front isn't necessarily the worst thing, because you get like clear view of the barriers. So tried to focus on that too, just because, I felt like I was able to execute my form a little bit better by being in the front as well.
Yeah. We are visiting with silver medalist Courtney Frerichs here on 92.3 KICK, the home of the Royals, and the Scoreboard Guide Network here as part of the Missouri Sports Network. And Courtney, I've got to ask you as well. A lot of folks around here have read the stories. You were a gymnast, growing up. These last two Olympics, have you maybe tried to sneak over, and you may not have been able to here in Tokyo, but to get over and see some of the gymnastic events?
I was able to in Rio. I got to go to the floor finals and then the high bar for men. And that was just such a wonderful experience. I think it really made it, just such a great experience to be able to compete and then watch Olympic gymnastics. Just dream come true. Unfortunately, in Tokyo, we weren't able to watch any of the other events, but obviously still was keeping up with what was going on, and inspired by like how much the women's gymnastics team especially stepped up and tried to channel that into my own races.
Yeah. Well, what motivates you? Where does your inspiration come from? You Nixon alum, UMKC, Mexico or New Mexico. What motivates you and who inspires you?
I think I always had really big goals as a kid to get to this point, and I was just really fortunate to always be surrounded by people that really believed I could do it. My family and all my coaches growing up, they never told me I was crazy for thinking it was possible. And then I get to college, and my college coach was the one who actually put the Olympic dream in my head. I didn't, I kind of thought that chapter had kind of passed, like once I went away to college, and he was the one that really put in my head that I could do it. And when I called my parents, they were like, go for this. And, I have a really wonderful husband who was the same way. He was like, you can do this. And like, everybody's always just pushed me to see how good I can get. And, my husband Griffin still does that to this day. He still runs 120 miles a week just because he loves it so much. And it definitely helps get me out the door whenever, maybe I'm feeling tired or, not wanting to go run that day. So just really lucky to have a really wonderful circle of people that have really helped me to get to this point.
What would you, Courtney Frerichs, at your age right now, if you could go back to that 7th or 8th grade Courtney Frerichs, what advice would you give yourself right now based on what you know where you've been?
Just to keep like owning my own journey. I think like that's the one thing I look back on, and I think I have a pretty unique story. And I've learned to be really proud of that. I think that taking a different path has really made me the athlete I am today. I don't have all the state qualifier and all state finishes, but that was okay. I think that, I just still kept believing it was possible. And I think I learned a lot as an athlete by doing all the different sports that I did and having all those experiences.
So what's the future hold? I know you just got out of practice, so you're already training.
Yeah.
The Olympics now is only 3 years away.
Yeah.
And is that a goal?
Absolutely. Something unique with track and field is that most of us, our season doesn't end with the Olympic Games. So I actually have a really big race next weekend here in the United States, the Prefontaine Classic. So that's a part of our Diamond League circuit. So I'll be looking to just see how fast I can run. I think, with Olympic races oftentimes, or championship races, the focus isn't on time. It's more about, getting on the podium. So this one will be a little bit more hopefully about time, see how fast I can run, and then maybe a couple races after that. And then we're actually going into a pretty unique 4 years, in that we have 4 major championships 4 years in a row. Typically we'd have an off year in there. So something super exciting is we have our world championships next year in Eugene, Oregon. So here in the United States, we're super excited about that, to have such a major meet in our own backyard. So I know my family is so excited to be able to come and be a part of it. And then we'll have another world championships, and then obviously the Olympic Games followed by another world championship. So really exciting 4 years, I think, in the track and field world, with a lot of opportunities to hopefully contend for some more medals.
Yeah. Well, I know going into these races, there's, all the preparation, the diet, the running, the sleep, everything. And did you hit any snags along the way where I think I read something somewhere where maybe you were ill that day before, a couple days before the plane left to go to Tokyo?
Yeah. So I actually got some sort of stomach virus while we were training in Hawaii. We went there for the week before going to Tokyo to try to acclimate to some of the weather and get a little bit closer in time zone. And honestly was really sick for about 5 days. And it was a really trying time because the last thing you want is to, be sick right before the biggest event of your career. And, I think I caused my husband and coaches a lot of stress because I was, I tried to do my last big workout before the Olympics and I'm throwing up all over the track. So it was not fun, but I think that if there's anything from COVID, especially just I've learned is that you really just got to learn how to ride the ups and the downs because nothing is ever going to be linear. And so I think I was able to, withstand what happened just because I just saw it as another little bump that I needed to get through and that I needed, I'd put all the work in. I just needed to, trust that once I was feeling better, I was still going to be ready when I got on the line. So, but thankfully I had a lot of really great people around me to, be like, you're okay. Little adversity isn't going to throw you off track. So,
well, I tell you what, Courtney, this area's, definitely so proud of you. I know you're up in Oregon, I believe right now, or California.
Yeah. Yep. Portland, Oregon. So.
Yeah. And I know people back here, Jason Bourne is no longer the most famous person from Nixa. I'm sure you've heard that 1,000 times.
Yeah. I get often asked have you met Jason Bourne?
Well, maybe now. I don't know. But,
yeah, who knows?
Hey, but Courtney, I certainly appreciate being generous with your time. I know it's very regimented, and I really appreciate you jumping on here and being part of the show. And again, from all of us here at the network, congratulations and God bless, and hope that everything goes well for you. And we'll be watching for sure.
Thank you so much.
Hey, you bet. Of the Missouri Sports Network, powered by KICK 92.3 and sponsored by the Chevy dealers of the Ozarks, Central Bank of the Ozarks, Great Southern Bank. And we're pleased to be joined now by the Rolla Bulldogs head football coach, John Frerichs. Coach Frerichs, hey, thanks so much for your time today.
Hey, Guy, thanks for having me, man. It's a great opportunity, way out here east of Springfield. It's nice you guys cover us and give our guys an opportunity to get a little bit of attention. So we appreciate you taking your time.
Hey, you bet. And Coach, first off, before we talk a little bit about this season, last year, 5-4 on the season, but a lot of things to build on. You get a regular season final win against Camdenton, 28-10. You have a running back. Go Hayden Fain, I believe, went for over 200 yards rushing in that game, just a junior. Talk about last year and the steps that the Bulldogs made.
Well, we were definitely happy with last year. Obviously everybody faced a lot of adversity with the COVID situation. So, we fought through that. We definitely felt like we left some wins on the table, through either injury or missing some guys or, not just playing the game right. Because, we go up and play battle, and we play a great game, and we end up turning the ball over 7 times. And you don't beat anybody in the state when you turn over the ball 7 times, much less at the time the number 1 ranked team in the state. But we were really, that kind of was pretty frustrating. But we thought we did, as far as the program, we continue to keep moving the program in the right direction. We're trying to develop that culture where you play hard, you play great football, take care of the football, and play great defense. And we're not there yet, but we think we keep making little steps here and there, during the season, during off season. And it's just kind of it's a little slower process than you want, but we're excited that it just keeps building.
Coach, as you look at last year coming back, and obviously the high school students are not in a situation like the NCAA and the NAIA athletes where they can come back and take another shot at their senior year or their junior year. So what are you going to have to replace as we look forward to the 2021 season? Who are some of those key guys that moved on because of graduation, and who are some of the folks that are maybe either are going to have to pick up some of the slack, or maybe going to have to step into some starting roles?
Well, I think, we were fortunate that we got to play last year, so we didn't lose, like in track. This year when we did track, we had 2 freshman groups because our sophomores didn't get a freshman season. So there was a lot of inexperience with those guys. But football, we did get to play. We did get to practice. Obviously it was kind of up and down, but we continue to get better. We were pretty young last year, so we did not graduate just a ton of kids. We had I wouldn't say a small senior class, but I think we got rid of 15 graduated. Most of our group was junior. We were pretty junior laden last year because we've got 8/9 returners back on offense and 7 on defense. So we've got to replace some guys in the secondary on the defensive side. And we graduated 2 free safeties, a free and a strong. So we got to get better there. Graduated Isaac Hunter, which was very explosive for us on both sides of the football. But we think, we've got some kids to replace, and, kind of going in this year, we feel like one of our strengths is our experience, but we are fighting some issues from the COVID as well. Still, I think a lot of my friends I talk to and visit with, numbers are down a little bit, and we're no different. Our numbers are probably going to be as low as they've been since I've been here at Rolla, starting year 6, but still good numbers, but just down. So I think we're still fighting coming out of that, sitting at home, being at home stuff. So we're excited for this year, though.
Now, we used to call it eating potato chips, sitting in the air conditioning and watching Days of Our Lives. Just you get used to that, and it's hard to get kids out of that mode. But Coach, and we're visiting with Coach John Frerichs from the Rolla Bulldogs, head coach, and this segment brought to you by Dope Propane in Bolivar, Missouri, and Bank of Billings. Bank of Billings established 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. Coach, what's it been like over the summer? I know last summer, the coaches I visit with, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to handle it. They didn't have a lot of things on their schedule, and now they're grateful that this summer they're busy. They're getting to see their kids and things of that nature. What's the summer been like for the Bulldogs?
The summer's been really good. It has been busy. All the coaches want to get everything done in June. Baseball, basketball, football. We're really big on multi-sport athletes here at Rolla. I know all the head coaches, we really push our guys to be in multi-sports. So our guys are pretty busy. But I think that they have, like you hit on, they're grateful they get to do it now because, they learned some lessons, much like my son, he didn't get his senior year in track. It's just over. And, we had several kids that all they did was track, and they didn't get to have their senior year. So, again, really push him to be in multiple sports, enjoy high school, and be a participant for our community. So it's been a good summer. We've gotten better. We lost our offensive coordinator, Coach Shockley. He took the athletic director job at his hometown of St. James. So you guys probably know the familiar name of Schuchart, Bill Schuchart. His youngest son, Joe, is our offensive coordinator now. So we've had a little bit of change offensively, not much. Kids have just had to get used to a couple of new terminology and a little bit of change, but it's been really good. It's been fun. We've not had any injuries. I know we've had I think we've been like everybody else. We've had a little hit of COVID here in the last couple of weeks, but we'll get through it and we'll be healthy and ready to go in August 9th.
Coach, now as you look forward to this 2021 season, actually week 1 going to be part of our high school game day that we'll be doing throughout communities throughout the football season in volleyball, softball. But week 1 on Friday, because I can walk there, we're going to be at Bolivar for the Rolla-Bolivar game. What are your expectations here as you head into this season, provided everyone's healthy?
Well, obviously Bolivar's been a phenomenal add to the Ozark Conference. There's a great tradition there. Obviously I started my career at Stockton, lived in Stockton, so I know all about Bolivar. I know it's a great community. Glenn's done a phenomenal job there, and the Bolivar kids are great kids. They're big, they're physical, they have a lot of pride, and it's just going to be a good football game because, week 1, much like last year, they were loaded with experience, and it ended up a great game. But because of week 1, it's hot, the ball gets turned over. So, we know what we're going to get from Bolivar. We're going to get big, physical, line up and do things right, and, just Ozark Conference football. So they're not really going to surprise us. Last year when they stepped on the football field, I was absolutely in shock with how I knew they were big, but they were bigger than my college offensive line. So I was amazed. But Glenn does a great job. He's got a great staff, and so we know it's going to be a good ball game.
As you look at the Ozark Conference, coming into this year with the Kickapoos, the Camdentons have had a lot of success. West Plains has been very good. There's no weeks off in the entire conference. I mean, it's a struggle to get through it, especially now you've added Bolivar to it, formerly a COC, then they were independent, for a while, but there's not really a week off in the Ozark Conference.
No, and there really hasn't been. Last time there was a week off was when I went with Will to Lebanon, and year 1, we were the week off at Lebanon. So now there's no weeks off in the schedule at all. Everybody plays great football, and everybody in the Ozark Conference has great athletes. And so you have to prepare week in and week out, and you got to do things right. And that's kind of the big push always with our kids, block, tackle, take care of the football, and you're going to win a lot of football games if you play with great effort.
And we're visiting again with John Frerichs, the head football coach for the Rolla Bulldogs. Coach, here it is mid-July. What are the plans here leading up to that August 9th? Is that the first day of practice? What between now and then? Have you got a vacation? Is there a dead period? What are the Bulldogs doing between now and then?
Yeah, right now this week we have wrapped up the summer. We're in our last camp for say at home. We went up to St. Louis and did the team camp early in the summer, and we've wrapped it up this week with camp, and then our kids will get 2 weeks off to get away, get fresh, go be teenagers, and hopefully not get in trouble. And then we'll start August 9th, and we start practicing in the evenings. We used to do the morning thing, but our staff's getting older, and these old guys like going in the evening time. So we've moved our practices and camps into the evening, and it's been you don't have to get your shoes wet in the dew, and it's a little bit more enjoyable. I think the kids like it better as well. But it's been a good long summer. We'll wrap up Friday with a scrimmage and a little food, and then our kids will go away. And I know I'm going to start a little vacation and try to keep my family happy.
You bet. Well, Coach, as always, we certainly appreciate you being generous with your time, and hopefully there on that week 1 high school game day at Bolivar, we'll get to visit with you. We'll be set up there from 4 to 6, and maybe talk to a few fans from both teams, and kind of mirroring it after the college game day, but an opportunity in Southwest Missouri, high school sports, especially with the COVID. We thought, hey, this is a great opportunity to maybe get the fans back in the stands and get them back involved, and we're looking forward to that week 1. But we hope to see you there and see you again, and talk to you throughout the season. Well,
again, we appreciate the time. It takes a lot to cover all of Southwest Missouri and to involve us and keep us part of it. And we're extremely thankful and look forward to visiting with you week 1.
All right. Coach, have a great day. God bless. Stay safe.
All right, guy. Thank you very much.